recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215215. That's SPARK to 215215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
I feel like I'm getting robbed when I bet the finals on a sports book.
Dude, delete that app. You need to be using Polymarket.
Polymarket?
Polymarket is a prediction market, not a sports book. You trade against other fans, not the house. That means more money for you and less for greedy sports books.
Even during the finals?
Especially during the finals. You can even trade on whether Trump or Chalamet will attend the games.
No way. What's the catch?
No catch, and it's available in all 50 states. Polymarket is so confident you'll never go back, they're giving you $50 free on your first trade.
I'm deleting my sportsbook app. How do I get started?
Download Polymarket now and use promo code CHIP for $50 free for your first trade. Stop letting sportsbooks steal from you. Download Polymarket and use promo code CHIP for $50 free on your first trade. Use promo code CHIP.
Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like, but you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places. What you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. From budget to the best. From desks to filing cabinets. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 Mac Oil Avenue in Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Hustler Mowers are here to work, known for their reliability, quality, and speed. They're as hardworking as you are, sun up to sundown. Whether you're a homeowner who takes pride in their lawn or a landscaper whose reputation rides on quality equipment that won't let you down, Hustler Church has a wide selection of mowers ready to tackle any job. Come see us today at Small Engine Service Pros at 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle to shop our lineup of Hustler mowers today. Visit us online at SESPros.com.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You want hot takes?
No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up until the playoffs was true.
Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that.
To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished.
Getting better.
1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them.
There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kenner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in live here on a Thursday. It's the Justin Kenner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. I'm excited for today's show. A lot to get into. No show yesterday due to, of course, the Reds continuing their We Want to Piss Our Fans Off tour. Get ready. It's coming to a game near you. Not tonight, though. The Reds are off. They'll be back at it tomorrow. Reds dropped the series against the Padres. Keep in mind, the Reds and the Padres were both in a situation where they had lost 8 of their last 10 games heading into this series, and the Reds had the lead in every single game, and, well, they dropped 2 of 3. And that was probably the other night, yesterday afternoon, that was the biggest gut punch of a loss I think that the Reds have had this season. You had Suarez go long. The offense, was buzzing. They had 4 runs up on the board, and they still couldn't get it done. A chance to come in for Petty late in the game to get the save and escape the road with the big win against a team that they're competing against in the National League for a wild card spot. Now, they fall short. So the Reds are off today. We'll talk more about what's coming up for Cincinnati coming up here around the corner. Again, it's the Justin Kenner Show presented by Frickers. Reds off tonight. They're back at home starting tomorrow. They'll have 3 with Arizona and then 3 with the Mets all over the next 6 days following today. They got the Yankees series coming up, and here in a few weeks they start that stretch where they play 3 against Milwaukee, 4 at Pittsburgh, and then 4 at Milwaukee. I mean, a lot of division games coming up. We'll get into that coming up around the corner. But I did want to open up with this. Look, the NBA, I feel like the NBA has been in a weird little cycle over the last couple of years where it's just trying to figure itself out. It's like every year the season tips off, and we're watching the old guard kind of slowly fade off into the sunset, trying to figure out, when is going to be the final season of LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, a Steph Curry. Those guys keep fighting. They're continuing to hang on, and they're still continuing to produce at a high level in this league. But we keep wondering, what does a league without Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant look like? Right? Like there was that long stretch where what did a league without Kobe Bryant look like, or a league without Michael Jordan look like, a league without a Shaquille O'Neal, a league without a Kevin Garnett and a Tim Duncan and guys like that. What would a league like that look like? I mean, and it's a slow burn. Slowly those guys, their careers start to come to an end. But last night was a true indicator. There was no old guard involved, and there is no old guard involved in any of these final games. This is the New York Knicks, it's not a sexy roster. It wasn't put together in the light of which you would expect a New York type of roster to be put together. Every time there is a big free agent that is available, they're always destined to end up in New York somehow, right? Kevin Durant, should have been a New York Knick. LeBron James should have been a Knick. Kobe Bryant should have been a Knick, right? Like all of these big major superstar players, Steph Curry, every time a free agent bid, hell, even a James Harden. I mean, sometimes, and I'm not putting James Harden in the list with those guys, but every time there's a big name free agent, New York is always like, oh, that's going to be where they end up. And they never do. I've said in my lifetime, the 2 biggest free agent signings that has happened in New York, Amari Stoudemire And I can't remember. That might have been a trade, but it doesn't matter. The two biggest names to join the New York Knicks roster in my lifetime, I believe, is obviously Amari Stoudemire back in the 2000s, of course, and then of course when you look at Carmelo Anthony in the 2010s. Outside of that, there has never been this onslaught of big name free agents to just flood New York and to flood the New York Knicks jerseys. It's never happened. Last night was, and really the last two games for the Knicks at home, that's been what you expect from a New York type of game. It's celebrities galore. New York is such an interesting Madison Square Garden. It's larger than life. The New York Knicks, larger than life. The bottom line is we all hate New York. We hate Los Angeles. We hate the big cities, right? We hate the big markets. We're taught that in all sports. We hate the evil empire, the New York Yankees. It's been a minute since they've been, championship relevant. I know they've been in the World Series, but obviously losing to the Dodgers. But, oh, yeah, there's the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers. It's the Yankees. Now you got the Knicks and the NBA and the NFL. It's the Rams, right? Like it's L.A., New York, the big markets. Now, the NFL is so healthy. It doesn't matter. Cincinnati is a ginormous ratings draw because of Joe Burrow. The NFL is that healthy that really markets don't matter, but markets help. The NBA, though, desperately needed an infusion of some kind of interest pill. Like people needed to take an interest in the NBA because it just seems like it was in a dry period for a while. Ratings haven't been horrible. Attendance hasn't been horrible. But I do believe that the NBA just does not seem to be propped up at the top of the, sports topic list like it has been in decades past. And I think because a lot of these, we're waiting for that new guard of star to come in. That's Wembanyama. And we get to see Wembanyama in this final. You got the New York market with the New York Knicks, and it's a perfect storm for the NBA. This is a massive win for the NBA, and last night's game was a massive win for the New York Knicks, but a massive win for the NBA. That comeback by the Knicks, the biggest comeback in the history of the NBA playoffs. So finals, yes, but playoffs just overall. At Madison Square Garden, there was such a cool scene towards the end as Anunoby again hits that shot. And the camera pans over, and there's John Calipari, and there's Adam Sandler celebrating on the sideline. And then it pans over, and there's Taylor Swift. And then there's Olivia Benson, or Mariska Hargitay. I call her Olivia Benson, right? Everyone's favorite detective. So there's Olivia Benson there, right? There's Chris Rock there. There's every big-name celebrity you could think of there. The president of the United States wasn't at last night's game, but he's been at the Garden for one of these two finals matchups. The Garden is just something different. And last night, it was something different and something we've never seen before happened with that big come from behind win. The NBA is all anybody has been talking about all day. Thank goodness, because if I have to talk or hear about Sorsby one more freaking time, I'm so exhausted with that storyline. I'm over it. We're moving on. Thank goodness, though, the NBA, we're talking about what's happening on the floor. We're talking about the games. We're talking about the development or sometimes the stunt and development of, the young stars. You have the Spurs, the youngest roster to reach the finals in decades. Wembanyama, who many believe are already looking at saying, you're the face of the league now. Even with LeBron, Durant, Steph Curry still here, like everyone's looking at you to go and rip the league from LeBron, Durant, Curry, just like LeBron had to rip the league from Kobe and Steph and all those guys. Like that. That's just how this works. The NBA has always done a great job of, the NBA gods, the basketball gods have always done a good job of, as the superstars start winding down, there's a new influx of stars that come in to kind of hand it off a little bit. And that's Wembanyama. But I got to say, if we're going to name Wembanyama a superstar, if we're going to put him in that class as a LeBron James replacement, a Steph Curry replacement, then we got to treat this cat like a LeBron James, Steph Curry replacement. Because if Steph Curry had if he would have fumbled like that in the finals, and by the way, he was a part of a team that did give up a 3-1 final series lead against the Cavs and LeBron on their way to their first championship there, everyone let him have it. Right? Like LeBron, my goodness, he gets knocked out in the first round and you guys let him have it. He's 40-something years old and there's higher expectations for him than a guy that is supposedly the face of the league. I think Wembanyama needs way more criticism than what he's been getting. You can't sit there and do the whole, we got to handle him with kids' gloves. Absolutely not. He talks trash. He's doing the I'm in your head. Well, what was in your head in the second half as you're letting a 29-point lead slip away? And they're coming down and jacking up 3 after 3 after 3. Like, The bottom line is, first of all, the three-point shot is always the ultimate equalizer, but that is why no matter what the lead is, it's never safe. We see so many big comebacks in the NBA, even in college basketball, because the three-point shot is the ultimate equalizer. I've talked about that when it comes to March Madness. The reason that you will always see upsets in the NCAA tournament or opportunities to see an upset in the NCAA tournament and not college football is because of the three-point shot. It's the ultimate equalizer. Football doesn't have an equalizer. That's why this idea that there would be all these upsets in an expanded college football playoff, I don't think that would be the case. And I don't mean like, oh my gosh, Iowa upsets USC or something like that. No, I mean like we're talking a Bowling Green upsetting an Ohio State or something crazy like that, or even a SMU upsetting. You just don't. Ultimate equalizer. It doesn't exist in college football. It exists in college basketball. It exists in the NBA. And that's why last night, no matter how big of a lead that was, once it got to within 14, especially in that third quarter, I'm like, oh, the Knicks are coming back. The Knicks are coming back. It doesn't matter that you were down 29. It's once you get that to that 14, 13, 12, 11, 10-point lead, it's a completely different ball game at the end of the day. And that's what we saw last night. But I have to say, everyone hates New York, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's the Jets, whether it's the Giants, whether it's Brooklyn, whether, it's Los Angeles, right? The Yankees in New York, the Dodgers, it doesn't matter. Everyone hates the bigger city market teams. But I'm telling you, they're great for sports. Last night was different. You could have had that same comeback with the Cavaliers and the Spurs in the finals, and it would have been heavily talked about. Last night was heavily talked about because it was New York, because it was Madison Square Garden, because you had the celebrities and the star power all around courtside. People are pissed off. Oh, Taylor Swift, she's not even a Knicks fan. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who she cheers for. I mean, people get mad at me. I'm a Browns and a Cowboys fan. I mean, who am I to sit here and judge other people's fandom at the end of the day? But last night, the Knicks matter. All right. The Dodgers matter. The Yankees matter. We hate them, but we have a feeling for them. A lot of Cavs fans in the area had they made the finals, but do the Cavs make people feel around the country? Do people around the country see the Cavs and instantly gravitate towards them, whether they're cheering for them or booing them? No, it's the Cavs. Next. But it's the Knicks. It's not a sexy roster, but it's the Knicks, and you hate the celebrities there, and you're tired of hearing about Madison Square Garden, and you want to see them lose, and then they win, and not just win, but come back from 29 and win the way that they did. Now you're pissed off at the Spurs. You're mad at Wembanyama. You're tired of seeing Mariska Hargitay and Taylor Swift on the sideline. You're tired of seeing all these, celebrities that haven't been to the Garden all season, but they're big Knicks fans. I mean, my goodness, try and stop them. Try to prevent them from stepping foot on the floor at the Garden. My goodness. The bottom line is that was a win for the NBA last night. It was a win for the Knicks, but it was a huge win for the NBA. And the Knicks make you feel, they make you tune in. And that's why I'll never say, I don't hate the Knicks. I love to watch the Knicks, whether it's to watch them lose or win. To hate watch. I love to hate watch the Knicks. I love to hate watch the Dodgers. I love to hate watch the Yankees. The Reds are going to be playing the Yankees in a few weeks. There's just something sweeter about beating the Yankees. The Reds are going to play the Mets next week. It's going to be nice to, hopefully, fingers crossed, the Reds could beat the Mets. But when the Reds beat the Yankees, it just feels better. It doesn't matter. Beat the Mets, beat the Knicks, beat the Yankees, beat the Dodgers, beat the Rams. It don't matter. It don't matter. Though these big city teams, the big market teams, we hate them, but man, are they good for sports. We hate what they do for sports, but yet they prop up sports. They make sports what it is, and we saw that last night. What a game, what a comeback, and my goodness, the way that it's being talked about all day today, I don't know the last time that the NBA was propped up in this light and talked about in this light. That was a massive win for the NBA last night. All right, let's transition to the NFL. I'm Justin Kinner. If you're just joining us, it's the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Want to talk AFC North football when we come back. I want to talk about the AFC North, the best case and worst case scenarios for all four teams in the division. And what you're not allowed to do is say, win a Super Bowl. We're taking the Super Bowl off the table because, that's an easy one. Winning the Super Bowl is the best case scenario for all teams. But the best case scenario for all teams, and we can't say the Super Bowl, and the worst case scenario for all teams in the AFC North, we'll get to that when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, the show presented by our friends over at Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. We'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy, chance of storms, 72 overnight. Becoming sunny at 83 tomorrow, Saturday, sunny at 86. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different. Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by...
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent paid benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams sale and get 30% off Super Paint, Super Deck, and Woodscapes products June 12th through the 22nd. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Hustler Mowers are here to work, known for their reliability, quality, and speed. They're as hardworking as you are, sun up to sundown. Whether you're a homeowner who takes pride in their lawn or a landscaper whose reputation rides on quality equipment that won't let you down, Hustler Church has a wide selection of mowers ready to tackle any job. Come see us today at Small Engine Service Pros at 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle to shop our lineup of Hustler mowers today. Visit us online at SESPros.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back here on a Thursday. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. If you are a wrestling fan, coming up after the show later on tonight, like every Thursday night from 6 to 8, we'll have a card subject to change with Benjamin Chimera and Big Kev. Dayton's only local sports talk show dedicated to all things professional wrestling, and we'll have that coming up for you following the show coming up later on with the 6:05 start time. So keep that in mind. We have that coming up for you here following the show. Okay. opened up, just reaction to what everyone's been talking about all day today. No, not Sorsby. No, not the sports betting scandal. I'm over that storyline. But obviously last night's NBA Finals, I mean, it's not very local. I mean, Obi Toppin's no longer on the Knicks. I guess the Spurs have Harper there. We could talk about that. But I think last night, whether it was local or not, we all have felt something from these NBA Finals. And I think it's pretty cool to see the New York Knicks in the finals, whether you are a Knicks fan or not, because it draws a reaction out of you. When the Yankees are in the World Series, you pay attention. You're not a Yankees fan, but when the Yankees are in the World Series, all right, I'm locked in. I'm not a Yankees fan, but I want to see these suckers lose, right? Like sending with the Dodgers. We hate the Dodgers, right? They're the modern day evil empire now. Everything we hated about the Yankees growing up, the Dodgers are doing exactly that. Money is no object to them. They're forming these super teams. They're winning World Series back to back, and they're in the midst of a dynasty type run. And they honestly have probably the best baseball player in the history of baseball right now, and Shohei Ohtani. When you look at the dominance with the bat in his hand and with the ball in his hand on the mound, we haven't seen anything like that in our lifetime. I mean, it is unreal what the Dodgers do. Now you're saying, well, the way I'm talking about the Dodgers must be a Dodger fan. No, I can't stand the Dodgers. When I hear when I hear the name the Dodgers, when I see Dodger blue, when I see their game pop up on TV, or hear TV and the analysts, everyone talking, I get angry. But that's why they're good for baseball. The Yankees are good for baseball. The Knicks are awesome for the NBA when they're good. We hate when the Knicks are good, but that's a great thing. We hate when the Dodgers and the Yankees are good, but that's a great thing for baseball. The Rams. I mean, the Rams are doing what these LA teams and New York teams are doing. Money, draft picks, all know, they're doing whatever they can to win. We hate them because they do what we wish our teams would do. We're going to talk about the Reds here in a moment. And I had Sam LaCure on last week. And I said, the only thing I always love about when people get so angry about, the Dodgers and their spending is we're all hypocrites. Sam LaCure said the same thing. If the Reds were spending the way the Dodgers spend, would we be sitting here clutching our pearls saying, oh my gosh, the Reds, you're horrible for baseball? No, we'd be loving every minute of it. So clearly we don't truly think it's bad for baseball. We just know it's bad for our team, and that's what we're upset about. So, that it is what it is. But that's a huge win for the NBA to have the Knicks where they are at. The Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. We hate the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't won a Super Bowl in 3 decades, but yet when they're on TV, people flock to the Cowboys. And not everyone that's watching is a Cowboys fan. There's not a lot of Cowboy fans around here, but you hate the Cowboys. But when they're on, you're going to watch because you love watching Dak throw the interception. All right, when they win, it gets a reaction out of you. The Cardinals are on TV, doesn't get a reaction out of you. The Cowboys are on TV, it gets a reaction out of you. The Patriots started to get to that level a little bit with Tom Brady after almost a 2-decade dynasty run, where just the talk of Tom Brady, the sight of Tom Brady, the sight of the Patriots, Bill Belichick, it just made you sick, and you hate-watched it. You were cheering against him. Dynasties, evil empires, these dislikable markets. I mean, everyone can't stand all the celebrities just sitting courtside, but that's what made non-basketball fans tune in. Oh my gosh, I had no clue that Olivia Benson, Detective Captain Olivia Benson, Mariska Hargitay, I had no idea that she was that big of a Knicks fan. You got to give her a little bit of a pass, by the way, because I guess she is a diehard Knicks fan. She's sitting courtside at pretty much every home game. The players go and give her a hug before every single game. So got to give her a pass. But Taylor Swift, I mean, my goodness. For as many Swifties as there are out there, there's as many anti-Swifties who just can't stand the sight of Taylor Swift at a sporting event. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about Taylor Swift. If this game is in Cleveland, Taylor Swift is not sitting courtside in Cleveland. Right? That's just Mariska Hargitay is not sitting courtside. Chris Rock's not sitting courtside in Cleveland. So the Knicks are awesome for basketball. You say you hate the Knicks. You say you can't stand the Knicks. You say you can't stand the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cowboys or the Rams. Without those teams, there would be no interest. I mean, think about it. And I know there's a lot of hockey fans out there. I'm not, but is there a hockey team that whether you like hockey or not, whether you like the team or not, is there a hockey team that everyone just despises? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking, but they do. They need that. They need that. By the way, college football we're Buckeye fans. Ohio State is that. If you're not a Buckeye fan, everyone hates Ohio State. Everyone hates Ohio State. Everyone. Alabama is that. Not as much now in the post-Saban era, but my goodness, if Alabama's on TV, you may not have a college football team, but you're rooting against Alabama. You're rooting against the SEC. You're rooting against Ohio State. That's why college football is so dominant. We say it's bad for football, that it's always Ohio State and Alabama, and it's always the same teams. I'd argue that's what makes football great, because every year you see the same teams, and it either makes you super excited because it's your team or super pissed off because you're tired of seeing that team right there. Same thing in college basketball. Everyone hates Duke, but when Duke's on, everyone's watching. I'm like, do we really hate Duke? All I hear people say, oh my God, I hate Duke. I hate Duke. I hate Duke. But yet they draw the best ratings of any college basketball team out there. Last night was awesome. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not a Spurs fan. I'm an NBA fan. Not as big of an NBA fan as what I was growing up, because I feel like the league just kind of, it just feels weird over the last couple of years, or over the last decade almost, especially in the post-super team era. I thought I would love seeing I thought I would love to see parity in the league. I thought I would love to see, more teams have an opportunity, which this would be the 9th straight year that we're going to get a different NBA champion, no repeat champions. How cool is that? Well, the ratings haven't suggested that that's great, but the Knicks are going to provide that rating. Wembanyama is going to provide that rating, and I can't wait to see what the final ratings for this final are going to be. I'm actually really pulling for the Spurs on this game on Saturday. I want this series to extend. I want it to continue. I hope we get to see another game at Madison Square Garden when it's all said and done. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 937-518-1410. You can text or call. Or I prefer text right now. I'm working on getting my headphones. If you call, I can't hear you. So I suggest you don't call at the moment, but you can text your thoughts into the show, 937-518-1410. I mean, we say we hate the Knicks, we hate the Yankees, we hate the Dodgers, we hate the Cowboys, but if it wasn't for those teams, I don't think anyone has as much interest in Major League Baseball, the NBA, or the NFL without those teams. All the teams that we say we hate, you take them out of these sports, all the teams that everyone hates, apparently, I think it kills the sport. You take those teams out of the mix. You need those teams. You need the Cowboys. The Cowboys haven't been Super Bowl relevant in 3+ decades. But my goodness, they're relevant. They make you talk. They make you tune in. They make you watch. They make you feel. Not a lot of teams make you feel. And the Knicks are one of those teams in the NBA. And we saw that last night. And it's been fun watching all the coverage all day long, whether it be radio, TV, what have you, nonetheless. All right. I want to transition over to the NFL. And, right now it's just that weird portion of the season as these mini camps are winding down. I saw that the Rams are, they're going to wrap up mini camp early, that they're not going to, they're going to wrap up their offseason program. They're a veteran-led group. It's just about staying healthy and staying fresh throughout the offseason. All these athletes know what they need to do to get right. In years past, people have gotten mad whenever Zach Taylor has ended camp early, for very similar reasons. A lot of us feel like, oh my gosh, if you have the opportunity to be on the field, take advantage of every second imaginable. But these guys, they hit the ground running here in about a month and some change. And it's like, just let them have this time off. Let them go enjoy their summer for whatever amount of time that they have. But this is that stretch for even sports fans, everyone. We sit back and we're just like, man, I can't wait for the season to get here. Man, I can't wait to see what my team looks like. Man, I can't wait to see what the Bengals look like with these defensive additions. Man, I can't wait to see what this team looks like with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins healthy and not worried about contracts and just ready to bounce back after missing the playoffs for 3 straight years. As far as the Browns are concerned, I don't know if it's excitement. It's more curiosity. What is this defense going to look like without Myles Garrett? Does Shador, with a full offseason program, getting a lot of, remember last year, he showed flashes of looking like a potential quarterback in the NFL, and that was without any first-team reps throughout the offseason. That was without any first-team reps throughout practice, throughout the regular season, and then all of a sudden, QB goes down, and boom, they throw him into the fire. Dylan Gabriel goes down with a concussion. They have to throw him into the fire. And he makes some solid throws, makes some solid plays without any chemistry, without any experience playing alongside the ones in Cleveland. I'm curious, how does he look with the full offseason? I'm curious. Deshaun Watson, I'm kind of over that, but at the end of the day, he says this is the first time he's healthy since the Titans game back in 2023. That's the last time that the Browns offense looked crispy, if you will, with the quarterback. So I'm curious, not excited. Bengals fans, you're excited. I'm curious. There's a lot of curiosity. Todd Monken, he was not even close to being my top choice to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, but I kind of like the guy. I like the way he talks. I like his philosophy on football. He just seems to have something about him that I think kind of fits Cleveland a bit. We'll see if that means anything. We'll find out. I'm curious about Cleveland. I'm curious about the Rams in the post-Harbaugh era. I'm curious to see with fresh blood coming in and Jesse Minter coming in as the head coach. I'm curious how much of that was Harbaugh, how much, a different philosophy now, how much of a different approach offensively, defensively, how different is this Ravens team going to look? Lamar Jackson has all these expectations. He's a 2-time, should be 3-time MVP. All right. Has not been able to match his regular season success in the postseason. But we know when he's out there and he's healthy, this team wins. Last year, more injuries, more concerns, all these things. I don't think the Ravens defense took a step back. Just a lot of chaos, and that's what ultimately led to them kind of going in a different direction. Harbaugh taking the New York Giants job and leaving. I'm curious what they're going to look like. And then there's the Steelers. Every time we count them out, the standard is the standard. And I'm like, I don't know what the standard is in Pittsburgh. It's like the standard is be average, be average, be average. They're never elite, they're never great, but they're never bad. And there's something to be said about never being bad. They're always good, they're never elite, and that's always a talking point. But there is something to never being bad, never rebuilding, never being in a position to have a top draft pick. But that may sound like a good thing, but to me, I think just because of the way that the NFL and professional sports sets this up, it works against you. I think that, when everyone is incentivized to lose at times, sometimes when you win, you lose. And I think that's been Pittsburgh for a while now. Every time that they win, they lose because they're winning, but there's a ceiling in Pittsburgh. And the Super Bowl is not even close to being a part of that ceiling when it's all said and done. No more Mike Tomlin. Everyone said, these rosters haven't been super sexy. It's just been that Tomlin has coached them up. Well, no more Mike Tomlin. Another really good coach that I think is very underrated. If Mike Tomlin is Jesus, according to many people, then I don't know what that makes Mike McCarthy, because his resume is as good, if not better. He also has won Super Bowl. He has more playoff wins. He has a better winning percentage. He actually has an offensive philosophy and a mindset, and he has worked and won games with really, really good quarterbacks and coached up quarterbacks. So, it sounds like, oh my gosh, the Steelers are going to take a major blow because they don't have Mike Tomlin. Could they have been upgraded by getting a Mike McCarthy? We're going to find out. I'm fascinated to see so many different things about the AFC North for this upcoming season. And I hate that we have to wait as long as what we're going to have to wait for either way. But when we come back, we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, we'll start diving into what is the best. Again, we're taking the Super Bowl off the table. Because it's when I say best case scenario for every team in the division, best case scenario for every team in the NFL is to win the Super Bowl. So we're taking that off the table. What is that ceiling for each team that they need to get to for us to say, oh, that's a great season, that's a successful season? What is that ceiling? And I'm here to tell you, it's to me, some of these teams, it's not about winning. Some of these teams I think would benefit from losing. And we'll talk about that when we come back. We'll talk about each AFC North team. We'll talk about the best case scenario and the worst case scenario for each team in the AFC North. We'll do that when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers here on a Thursday.
Describing the delicious flavor of Lee's new famous wrap is tough, but we figured we'd give it a shot. Imagine crispy, golden, fried to perfection chicken, drizzled with bold, peppery, beautifully balanced famous sauce, resting on a plush bed of succulent lettuce and sprinkled with cheese. It's like ordering delicious with a side of exquisite. In other words, it's awesome. The famous wrap with new famous sauce. Only at Lee's. Famous for a reason.
Meet Keith. He runs a 30-acre ranch. 8 years ago, his knees started giving out.
Climbing a ladder was almost impossible. If I could get down, I have to have something next to me to get up.
Keith's wife had a knee replacement. The recovery was hard and the results, not great. Keith wanted another way.
I won't go under the knife because I believe the body can do whatever it needs to do to heal itself.
Surgery wasn't the answer. QC Kinetics was. They're regenerative treatments. No surgery, no long recovery.
After the first one, the inflammation dropped 90%. Today, my knees are just amazing. I could not do what I've done if I had not gotten treatments to QC Kinetics. I just pray that my physical model continues to go and help other people.
Maybe that's you. Tired of dealing with the joint pain? Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family-owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale, and even specialize in tree health care, too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
From the Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office, I'm Shannon Crabtree. Join us for Clerk Mike Foley's award-winning Connecting with the Community speaker series, connecting citizens to local leaders. Join us on Tuesday, June 16th, as newly elected Dayton Mayor Shanice Turner Sloss shares her vision to restore shine to the Gem City. That's Connecting with the Community from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Employment Opportunity Center in the Westtown Shopping Center on West 3rd Street in Dayton. Another example of how Clerk Mike Foley is bringing the courthouse to you.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000. Use code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kenner Show here on a Thursday. Remember, we have cards subject to change with Benjamin, Chimera, and Big Kev coming up here at 6:05 is the show start time, and they'll take you right up to 8 o'clock. No Reds tonight, thank goodness. I can use an off night for, they take nights off. We should take nights off from them as well. What a crappy series against the Padres. The Reds have really squandered a handful of opportunities against teams that have really struggled. The Cardinals were playing horrible baseball. And then all of a sudden the Reds play them, and the Cardinals have springboarded to one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. The Padres were 2-8 in their last 10 before that series started. And the Reds had a chance to take 2 or 3 on the road in San Diego, and to lose the way that they did yesterday. They outplayed the Padres for the majority of that game. They should have won that game. You got a Suarez pop. All right. You got some, contributions from up and down the lineup. Great pitching until the very end. With the majority of these losses coming at the hands of the bullpen right now, it's like, my goodness, this team I don't think has time to get healthy. And I'm really curious to see what position this puts them in when push comes to shove come the trade deadline. Where will the Reds still be at that time? Who will still be on the, will we see Ellie back by then? Will we see Hunter Green back by then? I think, being without Graham Ashcraft, I don't think people really truly understand that when this team's fully healthy, they're very, very, I think they're a very good team. but they don't have a lot of margin for error. And the margin for error is the injuries and being without a lot of the core guys that they got in the offseason, core guys that they had success with last year as well. It's just been a nightmare scenario, and they're spinning their wheels. When they're not getting run production, they're getting the good pitching. When they're finally getting run production, they can't get the pitching. When the bullpen's going out and being solid, the starting pitching can't complement it. It's or vice versa. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Nonetheless, we welcome you back. Again, it's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Thursday. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page as well. Shaw, what up? Shaw says, does the comeback say more about the Knicks or the Spurs? Well, I think I'm going to say it's equal. The Knicks have been the best fourth quarter team in the NBA throughout this entire playoffs. There's your typical regular NBA stats of points per game and defense and all that. But from when you dive into the defensive efficiency numbers and the offensive efficiency numbers, they don't turn the ball over. Clutch shooting. The Knicks have been doing this all playoff long. So I think that speaks to no matter what the score deficit was, the Knicks were going to continue to play well in the second half. Then you look at the Spurs. They're the youngest team to ever make it to the finals in the last, I think, 4 or 5 decades. This is a super young team that doesn't even know how to win. This is the first time that they've been playing at this level where they actually had expectations. And when they've outplayed them, and they've had a double-digit lead in every loss that they've had in this series. They've had a double-digit lead in. The biggest double-digit lead in the history of the NBA playoffs and finals were 29, and they end up giving that up. So when you ask who is that more of an indictment on, I don't think it's indictment on anything. I think that the Spurs played like a young team who couldn't close out a series on the road or a game on the road at Madison Square Garden and in a tough environment. And then you have the Knicks who were just doing what they do. Now, again, the Spurs opened the door, bad decision-making, bad shot selection. You have one of the most dominant big men who's not even close to being a finished product yet. I get that this is why I hate modern basketball where the big man has the ability to shoot. That loss doesn't happen 10, 15 years ago because in my opinion, the big man's ass is on the block and you're working the ball inside. With the fact that they would just come down and jack up 3 after 3 after 3. And then it was just bad IQ basketball across the board. I mean, I think Chuck said it too, that was the dumbest basketball he has seen, the dumbest team he has seen. I mean, that was some bad basketball decision-making and shot selection down the stretch. So there you go. But yeah, as far as does it say more about the Knicks or the Spurs? I think it's saying everything equally. It's what we've been seeing throughout the series. Spurs have been really, really good to start. They collapse in the second half. They can't hold on to leads. And I mean, the fact that they've dropped 2 games at home, I mean, they had home court advantage and they lost it right off the bat and had a chance last night to even that series and take all the momentum back to San Antonio to set up a chance to win a championship at Madison Square Garden. You win Saturday back in New York, Wembanyama to be crowned a champion in the iconic arena that is Madison Square Garden. I mean, that would have been huge. That, when you go back, like even with LeBron, you go back and they're showing the highlight clips of LeBron early in his career. Can you imagine hoisting up a trophy, not at Oklahoma City? All right, LeBron's first championship came against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I get it was against Durant, Harden, and Westbrook. And by the way, that's a hell of a trio to get your first championship against. But, you want it at Oklahoma City. But to win it, a chance to win it at Madison Square Garden is massive. Massive. And they squandered that. And they're going to have to win one at home on Saturday. And then New York. And by the way, I'm beyond pulling for the Spurs to win on Saturday. And I love when the home team wins a title on their home floor. I just think it totally waters it down when you're winning in front of just a killed crowd who's just totally out of it because they just watched their team lose a championship. I think, at this point, you've seen some massive atmospheres at Madison Square Garden. I mean, might as well cap it off and the Knicks hoist up the championship at Madison Square Garden. I hope it happens at MSG. I hope it happens. I don't want to see it happen in San Antonio for the Knicks. Now, San Antonio bounces back into this and somehow gets it back to a Game 7 and they could win it on their home floor. Whoever has a chance to win it, I'm going for whoever it is on their home floor. That's what I want to see. Kind of a cop-out answer, but nonetheless. But last night was just wild. And I talked about it all show long. I know I'm all over the place. I promise we'll get to the NFL. I've teased it all hour. Still haven't got to it yet. I promise we'll kick off hour number 2 with it. But Man, that was such a huge outcome for the NBA last night. To hell, even if they wanted to hit the shot, it doesn't matter. Just to have every NBA Finals game be so competitive. I saw this, was talking about this last week with Keith Byers. We were talking about the finals, or about the playoffs in general. I said, the playoffs are interesting right now because when you look at it, you're seeing all these game sevens. I think there's been 4 or 5 game sevens. So you're getting really competitive series. Series are going the distance, right? But it doesn't feel competitive because every game it feels like I'm watching a 20, 30-point blowout. How many blowouts, there was 10 plus games decided by 25 or more. It's been so many blowouts in these NBA playoffs, but so many game sevens, competitive series going the distance. So it's a hard playoff to evaluate. But to get Wembanyama against the Knicks, all right, to get these, classic moments, these pinch me moments at Madison Square Garden, I mean, it's been such a massive win for the NBA. Every game has come down to the final moments. All right. Missed clutch opportunities for the Spurs, giving up double-digit leads. The Knicks playing great clutch basketball in the fourth quarter. Stars hitting the shots when they need to. I mean, and great plays at both ends of the floor. So last night, David, hope you're well. David Mann says it showed their youth and inexperience in glaring bright neon lights last night. The players and their head coach both. Inexcusable loss last night. Really, the entire series. Knicks haven't even played one good full game. I'm still pulling for the Spurs in 7 now. That's a good point too. Like the Knicks have been so damn good in the fourth quarter. They've been so good in the fourth quarter that what we forget about is just how at times dreadful they've been throughout the first 3 quarters, and not like extended quarters, but they'll go on long stretches where they don't play good basketball. The Spurs look like the bigger, more physical, stronger, better team. And then the Spurs just absolutely forget how to play basketball. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, one of the biggest clutch players in the NBA, takes over late. And I can never pronounce Anunoby's name, so I just say it really quick. Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's easier just to do it that way for me as far as I'm concerned. But for him to get the big defensive play at the other end, and then to come right down and to get that putback the way that he did, massive, absolutely massive. Big for the Knicks, big for the players, big for the NBA, big for the fans, because with the NBA, we're finally talking basketball. We're not talking drama off the floor. All right, we're not talking about stuff that doesn't matter with basketball or anything like that. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about the players. We're talking about the good decision, bad decisions from coaches. We're talking about the officiating, the stuff that basketball always was about for the longest time. Now we're talking about it. I thought last night was massive for the NBA. All right, hour 1 in the books. I promise you, we're going to talk NFL when we come back. I promise. I've been teasing it for a few. The best case scenario, worst case scenario for every team in the AFC North, including your Cincinnati Bengals, my Cleveland Browns, Kev Nash's Pittsburgh Steelers, and somebody's Baltimore Ravens, I guess. We'll get to all of that when we come back. Hour 2 next.
I feel like I'm getting robbed when I bet the finals on a sports book. Dude, delete that app. You need to be using Polymarket. Polymarket? Polymarket is a prediction market, not a sports book. You trade against other fans, not the house. That means more money for you and less for greedy sports books. Even during the finals? Especially during the finals. You can even trade on whether Trump or Chalamet will attend the games. No way. What's the catch? No catch. And it's available in all 50 states. Polymarket is so confident you'll never go back, they're giving you $50 free on your first trade. I'm deleting my sportsbook app. How do I get started?
Download Polymarket now and use promo code CHIP for $50 free for your first trade. Stop letting sportsbooks steal from you. Download Polymarket and use promo code CHIP for $50 free on your first trade. Use promo code CHIP.
Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship.
strike. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like, but you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places. What you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. From budget to the best. From desks to filing cabinets. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Larick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 Mac Oil Avenue in Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larick's, continuing the tradition.
Save big on your next painting project now at Menards. From your kitchen and bath to doors and trim, and even your ceilings. Menards carries the Dutch Boy paints you need for your next painting project. Dutch Boy's Durafighter is a tough paint and primer that provides great scrub resistance and durability. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards today.
Save big money at Menards.
Kubota keeps the job site running smoothly with the #1 selling compact excavator lineup in the world. Reliable, capable, and backed by strong dealer support. Stop by today to power up your crew. Right now, bring home select Kubota excavators with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimer for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment Company in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment. Or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Swing by Frickers today and treat yourself to our irresistible ribs and chunks special. Enjoy tender, saucy ribs grilled to perfection, paired with your choice of frickin' chicken chunks, boneless wings, or traditional wings, plus homemade slaw, your favorite side, and a roll, all for just $16.99. Don't forget, kids eat free all day, every day at Frickers. So bring the whole family for great food, family fun, and all the sports action you crave. At your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kenner Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Listen, we know in sports, the best case scenario for every team in all sports is to win a championship, which means when we talk about the AFC North and we talk about all four of these teams and talk about the best case scenario for all four of these teams this upcoming season, let's take the Super Bowl off the table. For some, I think it's far-fetched anyways, Cleveland. But obviously the goal is to win a Super Bowl. That's every team's, best case scenario as far as that goes. But based on what we know about these teams and the identity of these teams, what is the best case scenario for each and every one of these teams in the AFC North? And a lot of you will typically go with, well, this team needs to get to the AFC Championship. This team needs to at least get this amount of wins. Some of these best case scenarios I know it sounds crazy. It does not involve winning for me when it comes to some of these teams in the division. We'll talk about and open up this part of the show with the best case scenarios for the team in these teams in the North and the worst case scenarios. I want to start with Pittsburgh. We'll start with Kev Nash's Pittsburgh Steelers when we talk about the worst case scenario and the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, last year you look at Pittsburgh, and they win the AFC North, right? Like they took care of business. 10-7 last season. Aaron Rodgers helps lead the way, right? Aaron Rodgers helps lead the way for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, everyone didn't really know what to expect with an aging quarterback like that leading the way. And we saw at times his age kick in, but we also saw what makes him one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL at times. He helped kind of, lead them through. I mean, you look at a 4-1 start last year. Oh, wow. A hot start for Pittsburgh. I mean, my goodness, that's so rare. No, they always do that. But it's after that hot start. They lose at Cincinnati in mid-October. They lose at Green Bay by 10, 35-25. They end up losing, 5 of their next 7 games. And all of a sudden they come crashing back down to earth. They're 6-6 at one point. And they're 7-6, 8-6, 9-6, 9-7, 10-7. They end up, losing and winning their final 2 games of the season with that big win against Baltimore to close it out to win the division. Great. They win a division championship. They're in the playoffs. And whether they're a division champion or a wild card team, their defense is okay. Their run game's okay. Their offensive line is bad. Their pass catchers are okay. Quarterback's okay. And that's who the Steelers are. They're okay. And they're okay with being okay. They're okay with not being great. They're okay with not being elite. They're okay with never trying to hit the reset button. And as long as Steeler fans, and most seem to be, okay with that, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any change anytime in the future for Pittsburgh. In fact, this was the ultimate opportunity to reset. They could have moved on from Aaron Rodgers. They could have gone a much younger route when it comes to who they hired for their head coach, and they could have really started the unloading phase of the Pittsburgh Steelers roster with some of their older players. Pittsburgh has the most expensive defense in the National Football League. And what does that get you? Well, it gets you a division championship. Would that division championship have been there if Joe Burrow is healthy? I don't think so. So, I mean, we're still talking about Team Florida, a 9-10 win team. That's awesome. As a fan of a team that can't seem to win games at all and make the playoffs at all, I would love for my team to get to the point to where I'm complaining about another 9-10 win season. I would love to get to that point. But for me, best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2027 is not a 9-10 win season, not a division championship. The best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers is a 3-5 win season. The best case scenario is a 3-5 win season for Pittsburgh. It puts them in the conversation to be right up there to potentially get a, quarterback in the draft, maybe not someone that you take a flyer on later, maybe get some of the, I mean, we could sit here and say you can get a quarterback anywhere in the draft. Look at all the QBs who are leading the way right now and having success and dominating in the National Football League. I mean, come on, this isn't that hard to figure out. Teams aren't giving up the farm, all right, for more first-round picks because there's no value. If it was as simple as you can get a quarterback anywhere, people wouldn't be tanking the way that they do. People tank, people lose, people position themselves to have a chance to get the quarterbacks at the top of the draft. No one says, oh, we don't need an Arch Manning next year. We can get some no-name guy in the 4th round and hope that he pans out. And every once in a while, they do. But hope is not a game plan. All right? Hope is not a game plan. I mean, you look at New England. You look at Buffalo, right? You look at Cincinnati. All right? You look at Houston. You look at Jacksonville. All right? You look at these teams and that are, contenders. Kansas City. First-round guys, first-round QBs. That's what it comes down to, and that's what matters. High draft picks. Now, Patrick Mahomes a little bit further in the middle of the first, but they also were a team that was picking in the middle because they were already a well-run organization to begin with. But, you have to be in that. But you look at the Bears. It took a top draft pick to get that turned around. All right, you look at the Washington Commanders. I mean, you continue to go up and down this list, and I would rather be those teams. There's more examples of that than teams who, well, we took a chance on a guy in the 3rd round and it panned out. And if I have to hear Tom Brady's name one more time in that example, I mean, my goodness, come on. I mean, not everyone could be lucky like Cleveland and get a Pro Bowl quarterback in the 5th round. I mean, am I right? But there you go. But yeah, to me, I think the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers is a 3 to 5 win season. Be in position to get a Dante Moore. Be in a position, all right, to go get an Archman. You imagine Pittsburgh. I'm not pulling for injuries, but like if they did if key injuries to key players leads to them losing games, they end up just moving on from pieces at the trade deadline and just position themselves to tank for the rest of the year. You imagine a well-run organization like Pittsburgh when they finally get we saw what the organization, we know what this organization does when they have the QB right. And hats off to them. When their QB is not elite, they still find ways to win. But I feel like when you win, you lose in Pittsburgh. All right. Aaron Rodgers going to help them win 9-10 games, potentially flirt with the division, get a wild card, get out in the wild card round. And you're running in place at that point. Best case scenario is not a division championship. Best case scenario is, to me, them finally being in a position to say, okay, we need to move on from Highsmith. We need to move on from TJ Watt. We need to move on from some of our expensive pieces on defense. They're the most expensive defense in the NFL, and I don't really know what it gets them. Because it's not the best defense. It's one thing if you have the most expensive defense in the NFL and you have the best defense in the NFL. That's not the case. Worst case scenario for Pittsburgh is what I've been talking about. A division championship, wild card exit. I mean, you move on from Mike Tomlin, you have a chance to go in a different direction and reset the franchise a bit. And no, it's just the same old, which again sounds crazy saying that winning is the same old. But what are you winning? What are you winning? I don't know what you're winning. Nonetheless, that's kind of where I'm at with that. If you're just joining us, it's the Justin Kinner Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Best case, worst case scenarios for teams in the AFC North. We're looking now at Baltimore with the Baltimore Ravens. Best case, worst case scenario for them. Now, they're a little bit drier. I mean, I think that their worst case scenario is, again, another season where that defense takes a massive step back. I mean, for the longest time, whether it was Joe Flacco, all right, it didn't matter the head coach, it didn't matter the quarterback, it didn't matter who was on offense. The identity of the Baltimore Ravens has always been defense. And the identity has slowly started to shift over the years because of the dynamic quarterback in Lamar Jackson, right? Kind of threw a wrench in their hard-nosed, tough football team with the identity always being about defense, but it kind of had to shift over to offense. So much first-round draft. People said that Baltimore was not providing Lamar Jackson with enough help on offense, even though they, for years, used so many of their first-round picks on offense. I mean, they weren't always great. They weren't always elite, but to sit there and say that they weren't using their draft picks to try to help Lamar Jackson, that just isn't accurate. I've also said it before, Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback who can make plays in so many different ways, but I mean, every time there's free agent wide receivers or opportunities to go get them, it's not like everyone's lining up to play alongside Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Not saying they wouldn't enjoy it, but when you have a choice, if you have a choice to pick as a wide receiver, I want to get that football. Do I want to play with Lamar or Joe Burrow? You know what I mean? Like, do I want to play with Josh Allen or Lamar? Patrick Mahomes or Lamar? Keep going. They're going to play with they would prefer to play with the QB that is going to make plays with their arms first and not their legs every single time down the field. Now, I get it. Lamar, I think that's an overblown narrative that he doesn't pass the ball. He's actually a more than an efficient passer. But again, it is tough as a wide receiver in an offense that, again, where he's able to make something out of nothing, but a lot of plays are extended and broken down, and this is not a fun offense to play in if you're a wide receiver. You want to play in an offense where you're the number one target, not one of the options as far as that's concerned. So for Baltimore, to me, they have to get back to what their identity has always been, Lamar or not, and that's defense. So worst case scenario is that defense takes another step back. I mean, it was a solid defense last year. It was not one of the hard-nosed Baltimore Ravens defenses that we're accustomed to seeing. And if that defense continues to be chipped away, now you're borderline Cincinnati at that point, elite quarterback, somewhat explosive offense, because I still think I'm taking Cincinnati's offense over Baltimore every day, but they're borderline Cincinnati where it's all offense and you're just hoping the defense gets enough stops to put you in position to win games down the stretch. That's the worst case scenario, is that defense takes a step back. Worst case scenario, or the best case scenario, is they're boring. It has to be AFC Championship game. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, not just one win, but 2 wins in the playoffs, a playoff run. Again, if I made the rules, I said you can't say a Super Bowl because, of course, everyone's best case scenario is a Super Bowl. So for me, it's the AFC Championship game if you're Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, you have to win that division. You have to, and I get it. There's nothing wrong with falling second in the division to Cincinnati with how loaded that team is. but you better get to an AFC championship game. Lamar better ball out in the playoffs. Like, I bet, you're investing all your money into him. He better look the part come postseason time, because those are the rules. That's how we do it for all quarterbacks. Lamar doesn't get his own set of rules. Oh, because you're exciting to watch in the regular season, we won't hold you to any expectations in the postseason. No, that's not how this works. It doesn't work like that for Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or anybody else. Why in the blue hell should that be the same rules that we establish for Lamar Jackson over there? The problem is they're boring because they've had the same expectations for years. You know what you get with them. They're going to be a good regular season team if Lamar's healthy. But you know what you get from them come postseason time. That's also the problem, nonetheless. All right, expectations. Again, the worst case and best case scenario for every team in the AFC North. We just did Pittsburgh and Baltimore. We'll start off with Cincinnati and Cleveland when we come back. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy, chance of storms, 72 overnight. Becoming sunny at 83 tomorrow, Saturday, sunny at 86. Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. It's a fruity candy flavor explosion, and I mean explosion. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, a zero sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved. These can take care of my candy cravings and provides a tasty caffeine kick without all the sugar. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get candy flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Drivers who switch their home and auto with Progressive could save money and time. Other things try to do this, but they really don't. Like the touchscreen at fast food places. It's not like you save time because it takes you longer to use a touchscreen than, I don't know, someone who works there. And another thing, you'd think it would save money because they're not paying a cashier, right? But no, same price. Also, why is there an option to tip? Who am I tipping? Exactly. Anyway, even if you can't save money and time with some things, you could with a Progressive home and auto bundle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states or situations.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enid. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots?
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places. What you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. From budget to the best. From desks to filing cabinets. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 Mac Oil Avenue in Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale and even specialize in tree health care too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. I'm Justin Kinner with you here on a Thursday. No Reds baseball tonight. They'll be back at it tomorrow, coming off of that tough series loss against the Padres. I'm about to be done saying a tough series loss. It's just kind of what these all are now. They're just series losses. And luckily, the Reds have a lot of deficiencies, but I think the saving grace for the Reds is that there's a lot of teams around the Reds that also have a lot of deficiencies that are basically keeping them in it as well. I mean, this is a team that when you watch this team, this should be a team that, especially, you see how far back in the division they are, 9.5, 10 games or whatever. You would think that they're close to double-digit games back in any playoff scenario, and the fact that they're within striking distance is kind of wild. But we'll get into the Reds more coming up here just around the corner. Talking NFL right now, when you talk about expectations for all these teams in the AFC North, it's been viewed as, the most competitive, tough division in football for so long. But that identity's kind of taken a little, that armor's been dinged up a bit. No more Mike Tomlin, no more hardball, no more identities for those two storied franchises, right? Cleveland's defense, that's the one saving grace that you've been able to kind of lean on to when it comes to the Browns throughout the Deshaun Watson nightmare era. But that defense take a major hit. There's no more Myles Garrett. There's no more Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. There's no more Harbaugh in Baltimore. Zach Taylor still in Cincinnati, but Pittsburgh or Cincinnati might have picked their spot wisely because, all of a sudden Pittsburgh might be taking a step back. Baltimore might be taking a step back. Cleveland is Cleveland. And then all of a sudden Cincinnati, they dive into the offseason and just shock everybody, even the most homerist of Homer fans out there. And had a great offseason, and they might be able to, the timing cannot be better for Cincinnati to have all this come together as Baltimore is, transitioning in a different direction post Harbaugh. Pittsburgh transitioning in a different era post Tomlin. It could not be any better of timing for Cincinnati when it's all said and done. But, when we talk about worst case scenario, best case scenario for these teams, if you're just joining us, we're about to talk about Cincinnati and Cleveland here in a moment, but we just talked about Pittsburgh and we talked about Baltimore. When people talk about best case scenario, everyone starts talking about, best case scenario for this team. And again, I took Super Bowl off the table because that's an easy answer for everyone. But every team is starting a race from a different starting block. Every team is built different and has different internal and external expectations. So I'm not going to make it easy and say, a winning season. No. In fact, some teams could benefit from a losing season. Some teams could benefit from a reality check. Some teams could benefit from being humbled a bit, and I think that that's Pittsburgh. I'm not going to sit here and say the best case scenario for Pittsburgh is another AFC North championship. No. It may sound like a stupid comment for me to make, but what does winning the AFC North do for Pittsburgh in this particular situation? They're not ascending. They're not getting better. They're winning their 9 to 10 games. They're right there at the top of the division competing. They're right there in the playoff picture. But what happens when they get into the playoffs? Are they an actual threat? Does anybody fear Pittsburgh? Tim Tebow didn't fear Pittsburgh, right? Baker Mayfield didn't fear Pittsburgh. You go down the list of QBs and teams that they've lost to. No one fears Pittsburgh come to playoffs. The standard is the standard. Well, then average is average because that's who they are. They're just average. They're a well-run average franchise. And at some point, you got to hit the reset button because for them, to their credit, the standard is the standard. The standard is being great and being elite when they have the quarterback. But you're not going to get the quarterback continuing to win 8, 9, 10 games every year and just being competitive. What does that get you? I talked in the past of maybe they're in position to get Baker, and I think Baker Mayfield would be an interesting direction for the Steelers next year, but that's not promised. So for me, the best case scenario for Pittsburgh in 2027 is a 3 to 5 win season. Be in position to get Adante Moore. All right, be in position to get an Arch Manning. Be in position. Again, winning 3 to 5 games or whatever is not going to guarantee you anything, but you're right there at the top of the draft. You can, swap a next year's first round pick to move up or whatever and try to entice the Cardinals or whoever in front of you if that ends up being the case. Put yourself in position to have a chance to go get one of these quarterbacks. That to me is most important. And I don't want to hear about, well, you can get a quarterback in any round. If that's the case, then why do teams tank to get at the top of the first round of the draft? We say these things that you could put on bumper stickers, but I don't think anyone truly believes it. All right, put it on a bumper sticker, but it's not at the top of the philosophy of these franchises, because the bottom line is, if you truly could just go out and pick a quarterback in any round, teams wouldn't be tanking to get to the top of the first. All right, teams, as much as whoever gets Jeremiah Smith, could be Cleveland, could be whoever gets Jeremiah Smith, that's going to be a hell of a get. But whoever gets Jeremiah Smith is still going to be sitting back saying, well, man, we still got to lose this year because we got to be right back here at the top of the draft next year to go get our damn quarterback, because who the hell's going to throw it to Jeremiah Smith? So I don't want to hear about, oh, well, you can get a quarterback in the second or third round. Come on. The bottom line is, I don't like it, by the way. I hate that the NFL incentivizes you to lose. All right. But the bottom line is, if you don't lose, you don't win. And when you win, you sometimes lose. And Pittsburgh, to me, has been the epitome of that. When you win, you lose. And that's kind of where I'm at. So for me, the best case scenario for Pittsburgh is 3 to 5 wins. Get that top draft pick, and then it will humble that franchise. It'll put them in position to kind of self-reflect a bit. Maybe we don't need an expensive TJ Watt, who has just been getting worse and worse the last couple of years. Everyone kept trying to say he's better than Myles Garrett. He wasn't even in the same stratosphere of Myles Garrett over the last couple of years. So maybe save face and move on from TJ Watt. Move on from your expensive defensive players. You have the most expensive defense in the National Football League, and I'm not really sure what it's getting you. Free up cap space. Move up those draft boards, reset, get younger, and go from there. But that, to me, is the best case. And the worst case scenario, in my opinion, for Pittsburgh is a 9 to 10 win season. Maybe a playoff berth. That sounds horrible, because we know what happens with Pittsburgh once they get there. They get embarrassed in the wild card round, and it's a quick out. Say what you want about Cleveland, but the only thing that winning 9 to 10 games this season does for Pittsburgh is it guarantees Pittsburgh the chance to play one more game than Cleveland. What are you winning? What are you winning? Nonetheless, Chad, I hope you're well. Chad Kinser on the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page. He says that the Steelers aren't doing anything this year. Tomlin is gone and Grandpa is their quarterback. I'll respond to your other stuff there, but in your response to the Steelers right there, no, I actually really like Mike McCarthy. And I don't really like Aaron Rodgers anymore, but I do like Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers can still throw the football. I think Aaron Rodgers is an okay quarterback still. I still think he's a better option than most. By the way, I don't think that he's the best 40-year-old plus quarterback in the division. I actually would fear Pittsburgh more if they had Joe Flacco, but I still like Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers can make some plays, and he's going to make some plays. They're going to win some games, and they're going to do what Pittsburgh does. But I do like Mike McCarthy, and I think that Pittsburgh, the one thing that they could use is an infusion of an offensive mindset to kind of help lead the way. That's the one thing. People talked all the time about Mike Tomlin. My goodness, he's a legendary coach. But that resume isn't even better than the guy that replaced him in Mike McCarthy. In fact, they're pretty similar, but Mike McCarthy gets the edge in a lot of major, categories. They both have the Super Bowl win, yes, but how about the fact that, Mike McCarthy has more wins in the playoffs? He has more wins in his career. So you may have just replaced one coach with another that's very similar, but at least has an offensive mindset. I think it gives Pittsburgh a little bit more of an opportunity to grow in some spots instead of just being the same team over and over. But like I said, I still think they could be a pretty good team. I think they're going to be a good team. At the end of the day, though, what does winning get you if you are Pittsburgh, as silly as that sounds, because we know there's a ceiling with this roster, because it's been the same roster for years. Just change the quarterback, rinse, cycle, repeat. Nonetheless, Chad also weighs in. He says the Ravens will probably on the cusp of making the playoffs or losing in the mid-first round. The Browns still have way too many questions at QB and just lost their heart and soul on defense. The Bengals are the Bengals. Burrow was hurt last year, and Burrow seems to be every other year MVP candidate. Not being a homer, but I honestly see Cincy taking the division. By the way, you don't have to disclaimer that at all, Chad. When you say, hey, I'm not being a homer, I think Cincinnati should run away with this division. I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with you about Cincinnati. At the end of the day, What more excuses do they have? They spent all off season I'm not saying over prioritizing is it's a bad thing, but they spent all off season prioritizing and then some improving that defense. Right? They restructured the contract. They've done everything. Everyone's taken care of now. There's no distractions. It sounds like there could be more extensions coming up. And it sounds like it could be some of the defensive players. I'm like, I would hold off on extending anyone on that damn defense if I'm Cincinnati. I mean, my goodness, what are you thinking? As far you should add, if Cincinnati freed up money to extend anyone on the worst defense in the history of defenses over the last couple of years, I'm going to roll my eyes like something fierce. Use that money that was freed up to go add to this defense before you start extending guys that played a role in the embarrassment that you've been the last 3 years. But no, Chad, I'm with you. This team has no excuse. I think that, everything is timed up right for Cincinnati to go be great. I love what they've done in the offseason. I think it's put them in position as they're ascending. Pittsburgh's descending. Baltimore's descending. Cleveland's just flatlining right now. I think Cleveland, they get even a good quarterback. I think Cleveland and Cincinnati, I do think this. Say what you want. Cleveland needs the quarterback like always. But when you look at the young pieces they have all over the place, all over that roster, I actually think they're in a much better place for the immediate future than Pittsburgh is. I do think that they're set up better for the next couple of years, maybe extended years, than Pittsburgh is. Might even be better set up than Baltimore, who has an expensive roster. Pittsburgh has an expensive roster, and they just don't – what do they have for that money that they've spent? At least Baltimore has Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, can you imagine if it is Cincinnati and Cleveland who have their stuff figured out while Baltimore and Pittsburgh try to figure it out over the next couple of years? But I can't put Cleveland up there yet. They don't have that quarterback at the end of the day. So Chad does go on to say, my predictions, Cincy 11-6, Baltimore 11-6, Cleveland 9-8, Pittsburgh 7-11 nonetheless. So, okay, we're talking about best case, worst case scenarios for these teams in Cleveland. Here's where I'm at with Cleveland. As far as best case and worst case scenarios. Here's my worst case scenario for Cleveland. You predicted them to be a 9-win team. I've predicted that they could be anywhere between a 7 to 9-win team as well. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think that they're going to be interesting, though. I am not saying that losing Myles Garrett is not a big deal, but Myles Garrett was a dominant defensive piece on a really, really good defense. And there are so many pieces to that really good defense left. They had one of the best secondaries in the National Football League. They had one of the deepest defensive lines in the National Football League. With Schweisinger there again, they have one of the best linebacker corps in the National Football League. Yes, they're going to be impacted by losing Myles Garrett, but again, the Rams just lost Aaron Donald a few years ago and have still been one of the top defensive teams in football post Aaron Donald. So I'm not saying that it's not a big deal to lose Myles Garrett, but the Rams, you would have thought that they would have just fallen off the face of the earth post Aaron Donald, and they didn't. So that's kind of where I'm at with Cleveland. I think that defense is still going to be their identity. I think they're going to lean back into what was their identity even when Baker was here, which is the run game and the defense. They have the defense, they have the run game, but they may have struck gold finally at wide receiver. I'm hearing nothing but amazing things about Concepcion and Boston and how those two just are different animals when it comes to what the Browns have had in that wide receiver room in recent years. We'll see what that means and what that does. But to me, the worst case scenario for this team is honestly that 7 to 8 win margin with average QB play. If Shedeur Sanders goes out there and just looks like an average quarterback, that's a win for Shedeur. I think that's a major loss for Cleveland because then Cleveland's going to be put in a position where, well, it's been tough for us to even find an average quarterback. Now we got to cut ties with an average quarterback in pursuit of what we hope to be an elite quarterback out of the draft and start this all over again. And now that clock's ticking again, wasting talent. So I honestly think Cleveland, I need Shedeur to be butt cheeks. I need Deshaun to just continue disappointing people the way he's disappointed us since he arrived in Cleveland. That is the best case scenario. The best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns is that Shedeur time is up. To me, I think the best case scenario is that Deshaun Watson is the bum that he has been since arriving in Cleveland. That is the best case scenario for Cleveland because that will put them right in position to go get the Dante Moore or to go get the Arch Manning. But what you can't do is put them in a position where they have to risk moving on from a QB that you know is solid, but you're also going for something more. That happened with Baker. Baker was more than solid. He was good, but there was a ceiling with Baker that you all said Cleveland can't just settle for that. And then when they didn't, you ripped them for that. I think Cleveland has some tough decisions to make coming up. So to me, Make it easy for him, Shedeur. Make it easy for him, Deshaun. Go out there and be butt cheeks. But what good is it for Cleveland if Deshaun goes out there and is average? What good is it for Cleveland if Shedeur is out there and is average? I don't think that, they're going to win some games. I'm telling you, an average Shedeur Sanders with that receiving core, the run game, and that defense, they can win 7 to 9 games, and that's a great season for Cleveland. But you're still not in the postseason, and you still don't have a clear picture and idea of who your quarterback is moving forward. Are you going to marry Shedeur moving forward and just settle for average? Because I don't think I think the ceiling for Shedeur is solid average QB, but I don't think he's going to be elite. And I think we've seen the best of Deshaun in Cleveland, and that wasn't very good. So I don't know. To me, the best case scenario for Cleveland is a horrendous season from Shedeur and Deshaun. Make it easy. Cleveland needs to know that they do not have the quarterback of their future on this roster. They need to know that. Because if Shedeur is just average, man, that puts Cleveland in a tough spot. What do you do? What do you do? As far as that, because what Cleveland can't have happen, you let Baker leave and Baker balled out and you look stupid. You can't move on from Shedeur, draft a quarterback, that not work, and then Shedeur go ball out elsewhere. You can't relive that nightmare over and over again, can you? That's where I'm at with Cleveland. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, it's pretty simple. Okay. This isn't even a destination in the playoffs. To me, the best case scenario is this, because if this thing happens, everything else falls into place. Best case scenario, Joe Burrow plays every game. That's your best case scenario. This defense is improved. You're going to win a lot of games because of that, because the defense is slightly improved. I said it the other day. I still think Cincinnati has the worst defense in this division. All right. Some of you crybabies on social media, this guy doesn't have a clue. They don't need to have an elite defense. I don't give a damn about that. My point was they have the worst defense in the division. I didn't say that they weren't going to accomplish anything because of that. I was just simply pointing it out. But some of you crybabies had to get all up in your little crybaby Cincinnati Bengal feelings and make little dumb comments on social media because you're too silly to comprehend what the hell I'm saying. It doesn't matter. Even if Cincinnati goes on to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, it doesn't change the fact that they will have the worst defense in the AFC North. Get that through your little skulls. That's all I got to say as far as that goes. But to me, the best case scenario for Cincinnati, because everything else will fall into place, Joe Burrow's healthy. Best case scenario for Cincinnati, Burrow's healthy all season long, because when he's healthy and he's out there, that team, they put up points. And that defense is going to give up points, but they're not going to give up the amount of points that they have in recent seasons, which means defense won't be elite. It won't be great, but it'll be better than what it's been. And Joe Burrow, if he's healthy and he's out there every game, everything else takes care of itself. That's the best case scenario to me. Worst case scenario, it's what we see every year with Joe Burrow. He gets hurt. Not reliable. He's not reliable as far as that's concerned. So I do think that if there's another season where Joe Burrow misses a month or more of games, you're not going to have a conversation about moving on from Joe Burrow, but you just have to face the facts that you have an elite quarterback when he's out there, but he's injury prone and you're not going anywhere. Your hopes of going somewhere are because of him, but he's also why you won't go anywhere, because he can't stay healthy. This is a big season just from the clear standpoint of Joe Burrow's health. If he's healthy, everything else falls into place. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, he's hurt again and misses time. Simple as that. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. What do you guys think? I can't take calls. Listen, something happened earlier today. We were vacuuming and cleaning up in the studios, and my headphones were dangling down off the table, and the vacuum cleaner sucked up the headphones and just popped them all over the place. So I can't hear a dang thing. So when you call in, this is very unprofessional of me. I just can't hear you. So for today's show, and I already ordered my new headphones, are going to be in tomorrow according to the old Amazon app here. Just text your opinion into the show. 937-518-1410. Thoughts on the Bengals, the AFC North, Steelers, Ravens, Browns, what have you. I'm curious what you guys have to say. We're also live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Let me know what you think there as well. We'll be right back.
I feel like I'm getting robbed when I bet the finals on a sports book. Dude, delete that app.
You need to be using Polymarket.
Polymarket?
Polymarket is a prediction market, not a sports book. You trade against other fans, not the house. That means more money for you and less for greedy sports books.
Even during the finals?
Especially during the finals. You can even trade on whether Trump or Chalamet will attend the games.
No way. What's the catch?
No catch, and it's available in all 50 states. Polymarket is so confident you'll never go back, they're giving you $50 free on your first trade.
I'm deleting my sportsbook app. How do I get started?
Download Polymarket now and use promo code CHIP for $50 free for your first trade. Stop letting sportsbooks steal from you. Download Polymarket and use promo code CHIP for $50 free on your first trade. Use promo code CHIP.
Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply.
Life can be hard, so Progressive makes bundling your home and auto easy. Hope that helps. Learn more at progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Swing by Frickers today and treat yourself to our irresistible ribs and chunks special. Enjoy tender, saucy ribs grilled to perfection, paired with your choice of frickin' chicken chunks, boneless wings, or traditional wings, plus homemade slaw, your favorite side, and a roll, all for just $16.99. Don't forget, kids eat free all day, every day at Frickers, so bring the whole family for great food, family fun, and all the sports action you crave. At your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams sale and get 30% off Super Paint, Super Deck, and Woodscapes products June 12th through the 22nd. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, it is 4:40 here in the Miami Valley. We welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. Sorry, cannot take your calls. My headset broke. I mean, so stupid, but I don't have a backup headset. So I ordered multiple headsets so that I have backups in case I vacuum over it again, like what happened earlier today. This is what you get for cleaning. This is why I don't clean. I don't work out, because when I work out, I get hurt. All right. When I clean, I break stuff. And I learned my lesson earlier today. I will never help in trying to clean up my workspace ever again. But because I don't have my headphones, I can't hear you when you call in. So my bad. But I do appreciate the interaction and the engagement on social media and through our text line. The same number that you call into the show, you can always text the show as well, 937-518-1410. Talking about the best case, worst case scenarios for every team in the AFC North. And we opened up with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and we just talked about Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's pretty damn simple, if you ask me, because if this one thing happens, everything else falls into place. When I was on the other day, we were talking about all the changes that the Bengals had made defensively. And in typical Bengals fan form, a lot of you got defensive about your team. And I understand that most people are. But my point is that even with all of the updates and the changes made in the offseason for the Bengals defense, I still don't think it's better than any of the other teams in the division. I'm not picking the Bengals defense over Baltimore. I'm not picking their defense over Pittsburgh, and I'm just not taking it over Cleveland, even post Myles Garrett. I still think, Cleveland, their secondary is better, their linebackers are better, and they still have a lot of depth. And Jared Verse getting him back definitely helped, keep Cleveland ahead of Cincinnati as far as that's concerned. I don't like Cleveland or Cincinnati's secondary. I do not like your linebackers. And I do like the two additions to the defensive line that you made. But at the same time, I'm not going to, what about who they drafted? I know Cincinnati's draft history. I'm sorry that I'm not putting any stock in any single player that they've drafted because the next great player that the Bengals draft will be the first one in a long, long time. So excuse me for not getting, wetting myself with excitement because the Bengals drafted, a defensive player. I don't give a damn about that. I still think they have the worst defense in the division. But what a lot of you were coming back at me with was, I don't care that they have the worst division or defense in the division. This team doesn't have to be great defensively. And this is the point of our debate where everyone's right. I'm right. Your defense still is not the best, not even close to being, good in this division. It's the worst defense in the division. I'm right. You are also right, however, when you say this team doesn't have to be great defensively. You are also right. We are all right. We're all saying something that is factually true. Okay? With that being said, I'm using your logic and that same logic, even with the worst defense in the AFC North. And I think that it is. This defense doesn't have to be the best defense in the AFC North or better than Buffalo or better than Kansas City. It just needs to keep teams from scoring 24 or more every single week. It needs to stop letting teams score 28 or more, 30 or more every single week. This defense needs to just make a couple of stops a game to allow Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins to effortlessly march down the field like they do when Joe Burrow is healthy and put points up on the board. There was a handful of wins left on the board last year. And by the way, it had nothing to do with Joe Burrow. Joe Flacco should have been in the MVP discussion. And probably, as stupid as this sounds, keep in mind, Joe Flacco, when he came in week 4, the Bengals had the most explosive and efficient offense in the stretch with Joe Flacco leading the way in Joe Burrow's absence. If they win those games that they were supposed to, you beat Chicago, you beat the teams you're supposed to after that Pittsburgh Steelers win, Joe Flacco, in a stupid way, would have at least been semi in the MVP discussion. That's how good he was playing. That's how explosive the offense was. And all they needed was 1-2 stops. And Joe Flacco and the Bengals keep winning games even in the absence of Joe Burrow. That's how good this offense is that even without Joe Burrow, they can keep humming, right? So I agree with you. This defense doesn't have to be elite. It just needs to be semi-good on a few possessions a game. And I think that they've made enough additions to be semi-good on more than a few possessions a game. And that's all this offense needs. So for me, what Cincinnati needs, okay, what they need more than anything else is Joe Burrow to be healthy. If Joe Burrow is healthy and Joe Burrow is out there, this team keeps clicking and they're going to put points up. And that defense, which has improved just enough to be just good enough on a few possessions a game to put that offense in position to go win those games. That's what they have financially leaned into, and that defense has to put them in a position to go benefit from that. So to me, we talk about, we talk about the ceiling and the floor for all these teams. To me, that's what it is right there. Joe Burrow has to stay healthy. He has to stay healthy because if he's healthy, everything else falls into place. So for the best and worst case scenarios for all these teams, when it comes to the Bengals, the best case scenario, some of you are saying Super Bowl. Some of you are saying AFC Championship game. Some of you are saying AFC North Division champions. What I'm saying is your best case scenario is Joe Burrow stays healthy and doesn't miss a game. Because if he stays healthy and doesn't miss a game, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. Because their defense is the worst in the AFC North. But no one's offense comes close to Cincinnati's. And with how over the top good their offense is, I think it closes the gap with the defense with everyone else in that division. So Joe Burrow stays healthy. Everything else falls into place. Worst case scenario, Joe Burrow's hurt, and now you guys are all defeated because you can only argue how good he is when he's out there for so long before you guys just get muted because no one cares how good he is when he's out there because the mofo's never out there. And that's what matters more than anything. Joe Burrow needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay his ass on the field. He needs to stop playing dress up at all those little stupid fashion shows, okay? He needs to stop being Mr. Celebrity, Mr. Supermodel, Mr. Sunglass Model, Mr. Lip Balm Model, Mr. Flip-Flop Model, Mr. Beach Shirt Model, whatever other model he is. And how about you just be a model of what a good quarterback is and available? Be available. The injuries aren't his fault. Don't care. I don't think any quarterback out there has ever had an injury that is, and I shouldn't say that. I think 98% of injuries to quarterbacks aren't their fault. They're football related, but some quarterbacks are soft like Joe Burrow and other quarterbacks are Josh Allen who don't miss games. Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss games. That's what made last year such a rarity in the Chiefs' run with Patrick Mahomes because he wasn't available. He was hurt. And now the Chiefs are going to bounce back this year with him coming off of a season where he missed a lot of games due to injury. How is he going to look to start a season? The bottom line is Patrick Mahomes up until that point didn't miss games. He was always available. Josh Allen doesn't miss games. Lamar misses games, but not nearly as many games as our pal Joe over here. So that matters. That matters. Be available nonetheless. But Chad weighs in. He goes, if Burrow plays every game, they win the division. If we get baby Burrow again this year, then it's an open division. He also says Burrow put his foot in his own mouth with the stupid Super Bowl comment. Oh, you didn't say stupid Super Bowl comment. I added that for you. My bad. Chad said Burrow put his foot in his own mouth with the Super Bowl comment. Go win one or keep that word out of your mouth. Stay healthy and play ball. So here's where I'm at with that, Chad. When Joe Burrow said that, I liked it and didn't like it at the same time. When Joe Burrow said that, it took people back to his, first, second year in the league when he just had that aura to him. You remember when when the AFC Championship game afterwards, he said, hey, this is who we are. We're not, this is who we are moving forward. This is what we're going to be moving forward. And 3 straight missed playoff seasons later, I kind of don't want to hear you talking about a Super Bowl. How about you just talk about a wild card? How about you just talk about a playoff appearance for the first time in almost a half decade? How about that? But at the same time, I do like that that's where he's at mentally. Last year he was kind of throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum. I'm not having fun anymore. What's the point of playing if I'm not having fun anymore? Well, Mr. $55 million a year guy, you're being paid to. I think getting paid 55, us common folk down here in the gutter, I think all of us would find ways to have fun outside of football with $55 million a year. So excuse me for not feeling sorry for you, not even in the slightest, my guy. But to go from that to I'm going to go win some games, win a Super Bowl, I think Bengals fans are happy to hear that nonetheless. Ron Howard, he weighs in. What up, Ron? Ron says the Browns are not winning now. That's why they hired Pumpkin. What? He was the only one that they could find to run the dumpster fire organization. Say what you will, but until further notice. Ron, I get what you're doing. Look, the Browns they don't deserve any benefit of the doubt. But I do know that they've had 2 killer drafts back to back. This roster has gotten significantly younger. And if Concepcion and David Boston truly are those elite pass catchers that, according to reports, Cleveland may have found their not just 1, but 2 elite level wide receivers. In the case with the addition of Harold Fandon Jr. from last year's draft and Quinshon Judkins in the run game and Sampson in last year's draft, they rebuilt that offensive line. And you lose Myles Garrett. That's not a small thing. That's a major thing. But they still have one of the best secondaries in football, one of the best linebacker cores in football, and one of the deeper defensive lines in football. So, again, but it's always the quarterback in Cleveland. It comes down to who's going to be their quarterback. We know who their options are. I just don't think they have a quarterback. Take how we feel about the scummy person Deshaun is off the field. I would love to think that who the quarterback was in Houston, quarterback-wise, I would like to think that there's still something in there. I mean, he's in his early 30s. I mean, the guy looked like he forgot how to play football in his mid-20s. I don't know how that happens, but of course, if it happens, it's going to happen in Cleveland. That's what's so miserable, right? But maybe there's something there. But and that's the other thing too. I was listening to sports talk shows in Cleveland. What if he all of a sudden Cleveland gets blessed by the football gods, and Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, said when he addressed the media for the first time in years, said that this shoulder and everything that he got cleaned up and missing all of last season and the majority of the season before, he missed as much time as he did is because he was getting every nook and cranny cleaned out and reset. And this is the first time that he has felt healthy since the Tennessee Titans game back in 2003. And the reason that is such a big deal is because, well, that's the last time that Deshaun Watson looked like he was worth a damn, was back in 2023 against the Titans when they won 27-3. All right. I mean, that was the last time Deshaun Watson had a game that was worth bragging about. All right. He had a QB rating of 123. He completed 27 of his 33 pass attempts. He threw for nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, he did everything that you needed him to in that win over the Titans back in 2023. So this is the first time he's been healthy since then, according to him. But let's say that he does go out there and ball out. What does that do for Cleveland? You can extend this dude? Really? It's the last year of Deshaun's money on the books in Cleveland. He goes out there and balls out. You gonna extend him? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's only bad things that can happen. Actually, I lied. There's a good and a bad thing, and they're the opposite of one another. The good thing is, what would be good for Cleveland is for Deshaun to be bad. What would be bad for Cleveland is for Deshaun to be good. Because if Deshaun's good, are you really going to extend him? Really? You see what I mean? And as far as Shedeur goes, like I said, the best thing for Cleveland is Shedeur goes out there and just proves that, hey, he's a great smile, fun personality, Deion's kid, great story in college. But that story ends in year 2 in Cleveland, that he's just the best thing for Cleveland is for Shedeur just to get his shot. He's going to get all his fair opportunities. He's getting a lot of first-team reps in mini camp, and he's going to get a lot of first-team camps throughout the summer and in training camp. He's going to get every opportunity to go out there and prove everybody wrong. And when he proves everybody right, Cleveland will be justified in completely moving on and being aggressive and going to pursue a quarterback at the top of next year's draft with their multiple first-round picks and the ton of draft capital that they've been able to accrue over the last couple of years. So we'll see what ultimately happens. But Cleveland and Cincinnati are two fascinating teams to me because there's just so much there's so much known. Like we know what you get with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. You know how bad this defense has been, but we don't know just how improved they're going to be with the pieces that they've added in the offseason. Cleveland, you know how bad they've been, but you also know the talent that they've added to this roster over the last couple of years. You also know that they're a QB away. What we don't know is how much has the onslaught of talent over the last 2 years really pushed them over the edge. How Monken coming in, how much of a difference maker can he be? He seems to have the relationship with the QBs that Kevin Stefanski was lacking. How much of that will help in the growth and development moving forward with those guys? That's going to be the big thing. And just like that, we're out of time. Appreciate. Oh, Shaw, I'm sorry. Shaw did text into the show a little bit ago. I want to get to Shaw's message here in 1 second. So Shaw said, so we did our best case, worst case scenarios for these teams. Shaw, my bad. I just saw your message. Shaw said the Bengals, the best case scenario for them is an AFC championship. The worst case, start 1-5 and miss the playoffs. Yeah. I think for them to start 1-5, Burrow would be hurt. I don't anticipate one. I could see a 2-2 start. They're not beating Houston. I could see them losing to Jacksonville. They don't have a tough schedule, but what tough pieces on that schedule they do have are all there waiting for them in September. That's the problem as far as that goes. Shaw says for the Browns, best case is win enough to compete for the playoffs. Worst case is lose less than 4 games. Shaw, I disagree. I think that if Cleveland wins less than 4 games, that's a miracle because you're either going to come if Boston and Concepcion look the part, and it sounds like that they do so far. If you have a chance to get Jeremiah Smith and have an elite wide receiver trio, I'd say you benefit from less than 4 wins. But if you have less than 4 wins, you're getting an Arch Manning or a Dante Moore. So that's why I'm like, to me, if you win less than 4 games, it's going to be a long 4-month season for Browns fans, but we've done it 100 times. What's one more going to hurt? If you get an Arch Manning or a Dante Moore coming out of it, to me, I think that's why I said Maybe that's a good thing if you're Cleveland. Shaw says the Ravens, the best case scenario, AFC Championship. Worst case is missing the playoffs. Steelers, best case, missing the playoffs. Worst case, make the playoffs. We agree on that. Damon Hahn, he messages into the show. I want Burrow to be in the MVP discussion because if he is, that means we had to rely on the offense. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I misread your message. Damon Hahn says, I don't want Burrow to be in on the MVP discussion because if he is, that means we had to rely on the offense a little too much. It's an interesting approach. But here's the thing. You're going to have to rely on the offense too much. If you guys think that this defense is coming in to balance the scales, you're going to be very disappointed. Your teams are going to score on this defense still. I don't know how many times you have to trot out that secondary. I don't care that you had a Cook. Why are we still pretending like these cornerbacks are any damn good? Why are we still pretending that the Bengals have anything with the pulse at linebacker? Why are we doing that? We don't have to do that. It's okay to say that, hey, the Bengals made enough changes this offseason to show that they're serious about improving the defense. And, this was the start to the puzzle, and they'll finish the puzzle next offseason. What's wrong with saying that? Why do we have to act like, oh, man, there's greatness on the horizon? The secondary, they blow, okay? They just do. I mean, you may have replaced Geno Stone, which is an improvement, but again, I could put lifts in my shoe and I'll be taller tomorrow than I am today. It doesn't make me tall. So you may be better next season than what you were this season defensively. It doesn't make you good defensively. That's something that people need to keep in mind. So Joe Burrow is going to have a chance to win an MVP because it's going to have to be a heavy lean on that offense, which is fine because that's what they're built for. That's why you put 70 plus million into 2 pass catchers and 55 plus mil into a QB. I would hope that you're going to be leaning in to Joe Burrow and company as far as that goes. I think honestly, as far as MVP goes, that discussion is going to be between Caleb Williams with Chicago. All right. Caleb Williams, guys, you got to remember how good he was in the playoffs. He was good last year, and then the playoffs in crunch time with the games on the line, that kid was unreal. I know not a lot of people like Caleb Williams. He's kind of a different cat a little bit, but my goodness, he makes some plays and he makes some throws, and he just has that it factor to him. I think that if Chicago wins that division, I think that the MVP debate at the end of the year, I think we're really going to be talking about, I think Josh Allen and Lamar will be in the mix as well. But honestly, I think we're going to have a new MVP this year, and it's going to be either Caleb Williams or Joe Burrow, whatever the better storyline is. But if Caleb Williams, the way he balled out in the playoffs, if that's who he is all regular season this year, I still think that's going to be a bigger story than Joe Burrow doing what he does in Cincinnati, because Joe Burrow always puts up big numbers. I think Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, it'll be a battle between them for MVP when it's all said and done. All right, my bad, guys. I'm going long today. I'm out of time. We'll pick up with this again tomorrow. Hope everybody has a great rest of your Thursday evening. And we wrap up the week tomorrow. How about that? How about Friday coming on hot, literally, with this damn humidity? Nonetheless, that wraps it up for us. Until tomorrow, this has been the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits.